Hi everyone. Today I'm going to explain about the steps involved in accounting plan, property and equipment. What do you mean by property, plant and equipment? It means long-term assets vital to business operations. Property, plant and equipment are tangible assets, meaning they are physical in nature or can be touched. As a result, they are not easily converted into cash. The overall value of a company's PP&E can range from very low to extremely high compared to its total assets. Uh, the steps involved in accounting, plant, property, and equipment. The first step is acquisition. In this step, acquisition of plant, property, and equipment has to be uh, constructing assets that will be used in company's operation for an extended period. The cost of acquisition includes the purchase price, any additional cost to bringing the assets to intended use. The second step is record in the books. Once the PP&E is acquired, the company has to record the transaction in its accounting books. The asset is capitalized uh, an addition to balance sheet, and the cost is recorded in an appropriate asset account. Then the third step is depreciation. After recording the transaction, it is important to find out the depreciation, which represents the systematic allocation of assets cost as an experience over its useful life. The choice of depreciation method can be straight line or declining or units of production. Then the next step is periodic depreciation entries. In this step, the company has to make periodic depreciation entries. It can be either in monthly or quarterly or annually to recognize the depreciation expenses in the income statement and reduce the carrying amount of the assets on the balance sheet. The accumulated depreciation is also recorded, representing the total depreciation charged against the assets its acquisition. After finding out the periodic depreciation entries, it is important to review for impairment regularly or when there are indications of impairment. The company has to assess whether there has been any significant decline in the value of the PP&E. If the carrying amount of assets exceeds its recoverable amount, it is important to recognize it as an impairment loss. Then the next step is disposal. During the step of disposal, when a PP&E asset is no longer in use or sold, the company records the disposal of the assets. The assets cost and accumulated depreciation is removed from the books, and any gain or loss on disposal is recognized in the income statement. If any PP&E asset is no longer in use or if it is sold, it is important to record the disposal details in the company's books of account. This is called as disposal. Then the next step is disclosure. Financial statements should include appropriate disclosure about the company's PP&E, which includes the minute details about the assets, the depreciation policy, the method they adapted to find out the depreciation, the impairment assets, and any commitments for future acquisitions or disposal. So all sort of information must be uh, in cluster clear format in the books of account. So this is called as disclosure. So the financial statement should include all important disclosures regarding the company's PP&E. It should not exclude any necessary information regarding the PP&E. Then the next step is regular updates. PP&E accounting requires the regular updates to reflect changes in the asset status, useful life, or impairment assessment. So when changes happen, it is important to update those changes in the books of account. Changes can happen in the estimation, or it can happen in the useful lifetime, or it can happen in the asset status. So when the changes occur, it is important to update in the books of account and it should be prospectively disclosed. Then these are all the various steps involved in accounting PPE. So when you account PPE, it is important to go through all the assets. Let's take a recap. The first step is acquisition. The second step is record in the books. Then third one, it is important to find out the depreciation. Then fourth one, periodic depreciation entries, which means We have to enter the depreciation entries periodically. Then once we enter the depreciation, it is important to review the impairment. Then disposal, if there is any disposal of assets occur, it has to be mentioned. Then disclosure, all sort of information has to be disclosed. Regular updates have to be made to keep the book of accounts properly. So these are all the steps to be involved in accounting PPE. Thanks for listening.